Come out of the world, oh my people, seek the truth, avoid the evil, learn Yahweh's ways, Torah Life Ministries.
Hello everybody, it's Paul Neeson with Torah Life Ministries. This week we're going to be reading Parashah 32, which is Leviticus 25:1 to 26:2. Now before we read that, I just want to let everyone know that this week I'm going to be on God's Learning Channel. Their website is www.glc.us.com. I was just in the studio last week filming, and it'll air on Wednesday night and also Thursday morning. I'll post the information below this video so you can check that out and let your friends know about that as well. So you just can go on a live stream and see it live when it airs, at the time it airs. So it's going to be airing 3 or 4 different times this week. So hopefully you'll get to see that I spent 2 hours on God's Learning Channel talking about the Torah and how we can use it to enhance our health, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. This week's Torah Parashah, we see some great things, and that's what we're called to do. It says in the scriptures, "Open my eyes so I may see marvelous things from your Torah, from your word." And that's what he has done in this week's Torah. He talks about starting off with the Sabbath rest, not only for us, but also for the land. And he says, if you follow my word, I will bless you abundantly. There's food shortages all over the world because you have people living against Yahweh's word all over the world. But when you're living according to his word, he blesses you abundantly with great food and the elements to create that food. Rain, good soil. These things a man are destroying, but if you use them the way Yahweh planned it, you will always have an abundance because he said he will bless you abundantly. But he went on to start off, it says, Yahweh spoke to Moses on Mount Sinai. And how many Torah portions start off saying that? So many, because he gave Moses the instructions of how we ought to live our life and how we can glorify him. And he gave those to Moses on tablets of stone so people can read them. But then he went an extra step forward and he said, you know what? I want this on people's hearts, not just on stone. So they don't just see it, they can live it and enjoy it. And he gives us Messiah, Yeshua, to take away our sinful nature that we're born with so we can accomplish these things. And it is amazing. But he goes on here and he gives us the instructions each week in each Torah teaching and tells us what we can do to bless ourselves and bless others around us and to mostly glorify Yahweh. And it says it says here in Leviticus 25:17, you are not to take advantage of each other, but you are to fear Yahweh. When Yeshua says, love your neighbor as you love yourself, well, that goes right along with this one. You are not to take advantage of each other, but you are to fear Yahweh. But it goes on to say in Leviticus 25:18, you are to keep my regulations and rulings and act accordingly. Well, what is accordingly, folks? Well, we can't go according to the world's ways, because according to the world's ways goes against and is contradictory according to Yahweh's ways. So you must act accordingly, and that's what he gives Moses in each Torah portion when he says, tell the people this, tell the people this, tell the people this. You are to keep my regulations and rulings and act accordingly. So he didn't just say keep my regulations and rulings, but he put act accordingly there for a reason. Because there's a certain way we need to act all the time. Because people can follow rules and regulations, but there's an action that needs to come from that. So we need to act accordingly while we're following them. We're not following them because we have to, folks. We're following them because we want to. And we want that to reflect to other people. So it's not a test where we say, I did that, I did that, I did that. No, it's a lifestyle. So we have to act accordingly. So it becomes an action. So you are not to take advantage of each other, but you are to fear Yahweh. That was basically the whole message of Messiah. Do not take advantage of each other and follow his regulations and act accordingly. That's it right there, folks. It goes on to say in 26:1 of Leviticus, you are not to make yourselves idols, erect carved statues or standing stone, or place any carved stone anywhere in your land in order to bow down to it. I am Yahweh your Elohim. Folks, when it says act accordingly and keep my regulations, this is probably broken. This is the last one we read here more than anything else. People making statues and idols and having idols in their lives. And Yahweh is a jealous Elohim. And we will suffer the consequences for leaving Yahweh. And he also says in the scriptures, I take no pleasure in the death of the wicked people. I only want you to change from your wicked ways so you may live. That's Ezekiel 33:11. He doesn't want us to do these wicked things. And he tells us what these wicked things are. Not following his regulations. Not acting accordingly. But you are not to make yourselves idols, erect carved statues, or standing stone, or place any carved stone anywhere in your land in order to bow down to it. Anywhere in your land. So folks, wherever you're watching this, where you're living, if you see statues and carved images, what are we going to do, folks? That's where we got to act accordingly, and we got to pray to him and make the right choice. But we don't do things like pagans because we're in their land. We take Daniel and his friends as an example. Here they were in a foreign land. Everyone was bowing down to these other idols and gods and statues. But Daniel and his friends said, no, not us. And they said, we'd rather die than go put something like that. So, they put their physical life on the line, just like it says in Job, I esteem the words of his mouth more than my necessary food. His words should be more important than your physical life. And that's how you get spiritual life. So we have to understand this, folks, and we have to follow his word all throughout the Torah, what it says, his regulations, his guidelines and instructions. And he will bless us. You will be rewarded. I know it can seem like an issue in today's world, but you are to be the salt. You are to be the light in the darkness and not hide that light. Let it shine. And when people come see me and they're pagans and heathens and so on, they say, here comes trouble, here comes Paul, and he's going to tell us what we're doing. And it's not me making them feel convicted. It's Yahweh's word making them feel convicted. Even worse, if they're doing bad things and they don't feel convicted. Even worse. But, regardless if you feel convicted or not, what are your actions doing? Are you acting accordingly, according to Yahweh's Torah? Folks, that's this week's Torah Parashah. Go and check it out and read the Torah on a consistent basis so you can see what his regulations are and how he wants us to act. And let me put it this way. I say it all the time and I'll say it again. We're not saved by works. We're blessed by works. We're saved only through the blood of Messiah, but if we're truly saved, we should have every desire to do the works that he wants us to do, and then we can receive his wonderful blessings. Alright, so there it is. Have a great Shabbat, everybody, and we'll see you again here soon on Torah Life Ministries. Remember, I'm going to be on God's Learning Channel this week, so don't forget to mark your calendars and check that out. Those dates and times are below this video. Until then, everybody, have a great day, and Yahweh bless you. Shalom, shalom.
Come out of the world, oh my people, seek the truth, avoid the evil, learn Yahweh's ways.